Welcome back. This video will be exploring time signatures. So, what is a time signature? A time signature tells us how many beats are in a bar of music, where a bar is just a regular group of beats. So in this piece of music, this is our time signature. This is our one bar of music. In this case, it has 4 beats in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then separating our 2 bars of music, we have a bar line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So why should we bother with this? Well, it makes the music easier to read by separating it into smaller chunks, and the first beat of each bar is emphasized. We call this the downbeat. This helps to make our rhythms clearer and to make them sound more regular. We can do this by making the 1 in every bar a bit louder than the rest of the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why we have time signatures. But how do they work? Well, time signatures are made up of 2 numbers. The top number tells us the number of beats we have in each bar. So in 4/4, we have 4 beats in each bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In 3/4, we have 3 beats in each bar. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And in 2/4, we have 2 beats in each bar. 1, 2, 1, 2. So, with that in mind, which time signature would this be in? Have a think. So, all we have to do to work out our top number is work out how many beats are in this bar. So, we have 2 quavers here. This adds up to 1 because they're joined together. We have 2 semiquavers and a quaver over here. This will add up to 1 as well because it's all joined together. And over here, we have a crotchet, which we know is worth 1. So we have 1 plus 1 plus 1, which gives us 3/4. So to work out that top number, all we have to do is add up the number of beats we have in a single bar of music. So that's the top number, but what about the bottom? Well, the bottom number is a little bit more complicated. The bottom number tells us the kind of note we are counting in the bar. So a time signature of 4/4 is really telling us we are counting 4 crotchets in every bar. And a time signature of 3/4 tells us we are counting 3 crotchets in every bar. If a time signature is over 4, we are counting the crotchets. 4 equals crotchet. What about 2? Well, 2 equals a minim. So in this case, we have 3/2. This is telling us we have 3 minims in every bar, with a downbeat on the first of these minims. What's the point of this? Well, counting in minims rather than crotchets can help us space our beats out and allow us to have really fast rhythms over slower beats, which helps our music sound a little bit more clear. Listen to this example by an Old English composer called Henry Purcell, which is written in 3/2. And so on and so on. Notice how these quavers here sounded really, really fast, but even though we had these fast rhythms going on over the top, because our beats are in minims, it still sounded like it was going at a reasonable pace. It also means we didn't have to use semiquavers to write in those faster rhythms, which made this much, much easier to read. So how do we tell the difference between a time signature over 4 that's counting crotchets and a time signature over 2 that's counting minims? Well, time signatures over 2 tend to have more minims throughout the piece, especially in the bass line. We can see this in the Henry Purcell piece, where we have loads of minims in the bass line with only a few semibreves to add some variety. They also tend to have fewer semiquavers because it's not necessary. In this example, if we had semiquavers in here, they'd be so fast you'd barely be able to hear them. These quavers were already really, really quick. So in summary, time signatures tell us how many beats are in a bar. The bottom number tells us what note we are counting, where 4 means we're counting crotchets and 2 means we're counting minims, and the top number tells us how many of those notes are in each bar. With this example down here telling us we have 3 minims in every bar. So with that in mind, let's do some practice questions. What would the time signature of this bar of music be? Well, the first thing I notice when I look at this bar of music is that there are a lot of crotchets. We've got 3 crotchets and then some faster rhythms in the middle. So we're probably going to be counting the crotchets because they're what we've mostly got. So it's probably going to be over 4. So now let's count up how many crotchets are in there. We've got 1, 2, all of this is joined together, so that equals 1 crotchet, so that's 3, and we've got another crotchet at the end. So we have 4 crotchets in a bar. It adds up to 4 crotchets, and it uses some faster rhythms, so we're thinking it's in 4/4. What about this example? Have a think. So in this example, the first thing I'm noticing when I'm looking at it is that we've got 2 minims in our bar. This suggests to me that we're probably counting minims to keep this in time. In addition, in here, we've got some quavers, but we don't have any semiquavers. These aren't particularly fast rhythms. So all in all, I'm thinking we're going to be counting the minims in this. Now we just need to count up the number of minims. So we have 1 minim here. 4 quavers is the same as 2 crotchets, which is the same as 1 minim. So all of these quavers are going to give us another minim, and then we've got a third minim at the end. So we have 3 minims, which gives us 3/2. 3 minims in a bar. If we were counting this, we'd count it like this. 1, 2, 3. Do that one more time. 1, 2, 3. What about this question? If we're in 2/4, where should the bar lines go in this section of music? Have a think. So a time signature tells us how many beats we're having in each bar. This time signature tells us we're having 2 crotchet beats in each bar. So all we need to do is count up our crotchets, and every 2 crotchets, we're going to stick a bar line. So let's count. We have got 1, 2 crotchets here. So we want to have a bar line down here. Then we have a pair of quavers. 2 quavers is the same as 1 crotchet, so that's 1. Then we've got a second crotchet here. So we've got 2 here. Let's put a bar line over here. Then over here, we have a minim, which lasts for 2 crotchets. If we were continuing the music on, we put a bar line straight after the minim because that lasts a full bar's worth of music. And our final example, you're going to hear 1 bar of music, and you're going to try to identify the time signature. I'll play it 3 times. Have a listen. Have a think. And again. And one more time. So the answer is 3/4. You can tell I'm counting along with it. 1, 2, 3. In the middle, we've got some quavers, and you can tell that those quavers don't have beats on both of them because the first is much louder than the second because it's on the beat. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. That covers time signatures. Turn to activity 2 in your workbook and then look at the independent work at the end, which will help prepare you for next week. If you are looking at the extension activities, please continue watching the video for your extension content. So the extension this week is to think about a rather thorny question we get when thinking about rhythm in music. Namely, how do we tell 4/4 and 2/2 apart? Like really, we have some hints earlier about seeing if we've got lots of minims or seeing if we've got faster rhythms, but ultimately in 4/4 time, we've got 4 crotchets, and in 2/2 time, we have 2 minims, which are the same as 4 crotchets. So what's the difference? Well, one way we can tell the difference is through our groupings. So quavers and semiquavers are always grouped equal to 1 beat. We learned that in the last video. So if the beat is on a crotchet, quavers will be grouped in 2s, since 2 quavers equals 1 crotchet. But if the beat is on a minim, the quavers will need to be grouped in 4s, because 4 quavers is the same as a minim. It's the same as 2 crotchets. So to make this a bit more clear, in 4/4, we would organize our quavers like this, with a beat on every one of these quavers. But if we're in 2/2, we'd probably want to group them like this, because we have a minim beat here, a group of 4, and then another minim beat here. This makes it really obvious where the beats are lying. So if you see a bar that's organized like this, that's probably going to be in 4/4. And if you see a bar that's organized like this, it's more likely to be in 2/2. But because this is music and things are always more difficult than they need to be, let's take a look at a trickier example. What time signature would this be in? It's not obvious. We've got one group of 2 and one group of 4, so it could be either, right? Well, what we tend to find is that groups of 2s can be found in either, or indeed in any time signature. 2 quavers together is a really convenient amount. It's easy to read, and we understand exactly what it means. So these can be found in lots of different kinds of music, but the group of 4, that can only really be found in a time signature over 2, because it suggests that we've got a beat here, where the minim would be. So this is probably going to be in 2/2, just because it has that group of 4. So with that in mind, take a look at the extension questions in your workbook.